The Unitarian Church of Montpelier is located on unceded Western Abenaki land, that is to say, stolen. We cannot change the past, but we can move forward in ways which honor, recognize, and respect the Abenaki people as the traditional stewards of the lands and waters on which we gather. In that same spirit, we ourselves can choose to be good stewards of this land for as long as we walk upon it. I'd like to begin our Poetry Sunday service with a poem titled Grandmother Tree by Anne Blanchard. I am a tree. They call me the great grandmother tree. I've lived on this one spot for over 200 years. I've spanned generations. I've seen many changes. First, I was surrounded by a vast woodland wilderness. Native Americans would wander through the woods silently. Deer, porcupine, bear, lynx, bobcat, coyote would visit. Beavers would swim in the nearby pond. Fish were in the stream. Herons would fly overhead. Then other humans came, hunting, fishing, settling. Small farms were cultivated, trees were cut, stone walls built, a meandering path, a dirt road, a small house built nearby with a root cellar. I was there, witnessing. Time passed. Eventually, farms faded and trees grew back. I had young arbor friends again. And many years later, a group of 8 adventurous women came to the land I lived on. They settled into old, fallen down shack and built wigwams and unique shelters in the nearby woods. They were astonished at my presence, my growth, beauty. They hung decorations on my limbs and meditated on the forest floor around me. They chanted, sang, and did rituals under my boughs. We celebrated life together. I felt content, a quiet and deep joy, and I still do, still standing, still growing. Good morning. I'm Leah Greenberg, your worship associate for our annual poetry service in honor of National Poetry Month and PoemCity. For over 155 years, this congregation has been a sanctuary for many others seeking spiritual sustenance as well as peace and justice in this world. We welcome all into this community that affirms the worth and dignity of every person and the interdependence we share with all existence. Please know that we have hearing assist devices available on the table at the rear of the sanctuary. Also, you can listen and watch the service in the fireplace room downstairs if you need to leave the sanctuary for any reason. And if you have a personal concern, challenge, or loss that calls for love, support, and prayers, a member of our lay pastoral care ministry team is available after the service. If you would like to share more deeply, this morning's lay pastoral caregiver is right over there. It's always a pleasure to have newcomers and guests join us for worship. If this is your first or second time visiting, and you wish to do so, you are invited to stand or wave so we might offer you a special welcome. Hi. Woo. Thank you. We're glad you're here. We'd love to have you join us for coffee hour downstairs immediately following this service to offer a more personal welcome. And you're also invited to fill out a welcome form available at the hospitality service table. Now, we can all enjoy the welcoming by taking a few moments to turn to our neighbors and share a few words of greeting. for sharing. Thank you. Great. We are off to a good start. Yes. You are invited to continue those fabulous conversations after the service downstairs. And now, let's take a deep breath. Make sure our cell phones are silenced and enter more deeply into our service with the prelude. And now I'd like to invite Lotus to share an original poem.
The eclipse was blue. In the long and ever brief moments of its totality, its magic sparkled around us all, giving a sense of otherworldliness to our familiar surroundings. Brilliance and darkness were ushered in through the great cosmic dance, and the eastern mountains now lit up like a gentle sunset. The eclipse was round, made of circles, made of spheres, made of circles. The moon, the sun, the earth, the shining corona we so lovingly admired, the crescent shapes, the circle of stones, all love letters from circle to circle, pure, playful, cosmic, fractal, deep and awe-inspiring in its roundness. Seeing the sun grow smaller, I was comforted, knowing the dance would go on, and I was lucky enough to bear witness to it. Witnessing the eclipse unfolding like the flow of shimmering water reminded us to just be present in the moment. We are here now in the great dance of the spheres, and nothing more is required of us. Circles upon circles, the moon writes a poem atop the sun, eating away at it and giving it the chance to feel what it feels like to be a crescent in the sky, and how it feels to have a gentle, ethereal glow adored directly by human eyes, if only for a moment. We are brought to song, to tears, to shaking and holding one another, to standing with our feet rooted in the earth, breathing in this cosmic delight. We were blessed to share in a moment of awe, of fairyland, eternal yet gone as soon as it arrived, a sweet, precious gift from Mama Moon. And seeing the moon say its slow goodbye to the sun, I bore gentle witness to the great orbital path it travels. How amazing it is to be on this earth, to share in this, to be in it.
Thank you, Lotus. As I'm sure you can imagine, much thought and care has been put into this service, including the hymn selection, of which were chosen particularly for their poetic lyrics and connections to the writings of well-known poets. So please join by rising in body or spirit to sing our opening hymn, number 44 in the Gray Hymnal. We sing of golden mornings, with words by Ralph Waldo Emerson and music from Southern Harmony. Eliza will play the whole piece through once before we will sing. Let us now light the chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. And as we do, I invite those at home to light a chalice if you have one nearby. We light this flame, an enduring symbol of our collective commitment to lead with truth and compassion. Now let us all join our voices in saying these words of affirmation adapted from L. Griswold Williams. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant. Now we would like to invite all children to join their leaders and friends on the green rug in the Children's Chapel. Today you will be with Nancy Schultz and Rhoda Chickering for a one-room Sunday full of movement. Class ends about 10 minutes after the hour, so grown-ups may pick up kiddos at that time. And now, let us sing our children out to their program. We hold you in our love as you go, as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go. To nurture the spark of your precious life. We hold you in our love as you go. We hold you in our love as you go, as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go. To nurture the spark of your precious light. We hold you in our love as you go. I'd like to welcome our readers, Jared, Kristen, Garrett, and Jim, to join me up here for the next series of poems, all of which, well, except the last one, were written by the readers themselves. We will start with Inheritance by Jared Duvall.
Good morning. I wrote this poem, just a word of introduction, about 3 years ago when Joan and Liam and I were staying in one of the cabins at Rock Point in Burlington. Underneath the rough, ridged exterior of a butternut shell, I notice the soft glow from the golden brown folds within. And I am reminded of the greatest inheritance I have or can pass on. Beyond classification, a simple folk appreciation for the wonders of the natural world, especially in this blessed part of it known as Vermont. I feel this vernacular of nature better than I can speak it. Contentment and vague yearning at the sight of moss-covered stones. Reverence beneath a massive old oak, perhaps just a sapling when my great-grandparents wed on this chapel of land 80 years ago. Gratitude upon finding the feather of a falcon from a peregrine species that humans nearly destroyed, but then helped bring back. May future generations know themselves to be the descendants of this kinship with nature, bound by a cord of humility, awe, and responsibility.
This is a poem that I wrote when I started the spring session of poetry class at the Senior Center, and I had not written any poems all winter. Poetry horse. At the pasture, I call to the horse, a shiny bay mare, fat from winter oats and hay. She continues to graze, nipping spring grass. I reach for her halter, but she edges away, not even twitching her ears. How can I get back on the horse if I can't even get close?
Hello. The poem I wrote is called A Teacher Observes Play During Recess. It is also titled Sweet Mud, and it begins with a direct quote from a child playing in the mud. And it was said with a lot of passion. Get me water! Somebody get me water! Sweet mud, scraped with every ounce of effort. Grass clumps turned cupcakes with rock gumdrops. And the gravel garnish sprinkled from decadently dirty, dust-caked, clammy palms. The serious business of escape, of adventure, the hoist, the mining, the uncovering treasure, the dinosaur egg or pirate anchor. Dams and trickles carving crevasses, this wind-ripped canyon from the malleable clay of imagination. Set in motion, the kids dart and jump madly across abysses, as if cheating death or evading capture, or free-falling to certain doom. All while the teacher, staring stoic, stiff-spined, blood-clotted, aging, checks their watch to keep on track. The teacher, with slight smile and all their knowing, protects this sacred act.
On the Konkan Kanya Express by Barbara Thompson. In early morning cool, we take a taxi to Mumbai CST. Find Thompson penciled on a slip of paper, stuck to the door of a sleeper car. We fall onto the made-up beds, rest in the still dark, wake to a knock from the conductor who brings tea in china cups. You, with toenails painted scarlet, write in your journal. I, rocked by the lurching carriage, read about the British trade in poppies. The train rattles past coconut palms, through air the color of haze, past hillsides of red earth like bricks. We snuggle in our capsule, happy to be skirting towns whose names we can't pronounce. Ratnagiri, Kankavali, Sawantawadi. Headed for lonely beaches in a state that once was Portuguese. For now, we live on the train, sometimes balancing on the platform between cars. Metal clangs against metal as we grab for fresh air, a smoke, a place to be together.
It is a joy to be part of such an engaged and talented community. And here are just a few upcoming programs we would like to highlight. First, please save the dates for the Budget Forum on May 5th and the annual meeting on May 19th. Both events take place in the sanctuary immediately following worship service. And the Climate Action Team will lead a discussion next Sunday about how we can all play a part in reducing our carbon footprint and protect the earth, our home. All are invited to attend. There are many other ways to be involved in this community, so please check the weekly e-news, which comes out fresh every Friday. And another way to participate in this community is through our pouch program. Our gifts freely given help us practice Unitarian Universalism within and beyond our congregation. As you know, each month through the UCM Community Pouch Program, we share part of our collection with an important church fund or community organization aligned with our values. The mission of the UCM Monday Community Lunch Program, April's Community Pouch Program, is to provide nutritious meals in a safe, comfortable setting. Half our cash offerings will go to this pouch recipient. The other half will directly support the mission and ministry of this church. And if you wish to designate your entire offering to the community pouch, please indicate that with a note attached to your cash or in the memo line of your check. Checks will go to the church unless designated otherwise. You can find and have found the offering pouches at the end of the pews on the side aisles. Thank you for passing them towards the center aisle now. We are so grateful to each and every one of you for your generosity in its many forms. Your offering is gratefully received. And we are about to hear the choir's offering, Great Trees, which is based on the Wendell Berry poem, Slowly, Slowly They Return. And you will all have the opportunity to sing those same words for the closing hymn. Next, we will have Liz and Betty up here to read poems. First, Liz Benjamin will be reading her own poem, Wild Things 2, followed by Renewing My Vows, written by Betsy Unger and being read by Betty Roy.
Wild things. Skidding on wide planked floors, cats prowl and pounce, tails switching, a panther and a tiger, wild things. Beyond the door, the pond stretches away, rippled with green and gold sparkles. Blue tangled waterfalls splash, mirrored trees waft and shimmer. Rambling through the verdant trees, I breathe, and the woods silently breathe back until a sudden raucous roar of wind shoves the branches, shivers the leaves, another wild thing.
Renewing My Vows by Betsy Unger. The crocuses won't miss their turn. They push their green swords through the brown, open their magenta mouths, and sing with their orange tongues to the white waiting sky above. I set my eyes on hope. I cast my lot in love.
In our community of care and belonging, we hold one another with love in times of joy and in times of sorrow. In that spirit, we share in the ritual of lighting candles of joy and concern twice a month. During the candle lighting time, you may wish to come forward and share a special joy or a milestone so that we may celebrate with you. Perhaps in addition to your family, a special birthday, or anything you have found worthy of celebration. You also may wish to share a personal concern, challenge, or loss that calls for our love, support, and prayers as a spiritual community. In just a moment, you are invited to come forward to share your name and briefly share, in a sentence or two, the joy and concern that is on your heart before lighting a candle. You may also come forward and light a candle in silence if you wish. And as a reminder, the service is being live streamed, so anything shared here in the room will also be shared with our live stream viewers. But this portion of the service, however, will be removed, typically within 48 hours, before we post the video recording in our service archive. And now we will hear another round of poetry. And we are inviting up Kenrick, Janet, Janet, Jim, and Sarah. We will start with Freedom Train, written and read by Kenrick Kite.
July 4, 1980, Helmstadt, West Germany. We are stopped on the platform just west of the no man's land. Two elderly sisters in traveling habits with their small brown suitcases patiently wait for a different train. Maybe the 1527 to Hamburg? It's 1520 now. We are 30 German and Vermont teens with memories of two Berlins. The Berlin with the Kudamm, the ruined shell of the Kaiser Wilhelm Gedächtniskirche, and the Chinese restaurant. And the Berlin with the Alexanderplatz, the towering Fernsehturm, the barbed wire. Soldiers goose-stepping, just like they do in all those Soviet parade films. Rules. Is that a camera? No pictures. Spies. A man sitting in a car with a Russian newspaper. It's not lost on 16-year-old me being in a communist country on Independence Day. Behind us, the border, the Iron Curtain, the wall. Earlier, the East German Grenzpolizei with their German shepherds checked outside, inside, topside, and underneath, looking for contraband. Not the drug kind. Herr Schirmer told us in class they always go in twos so neither can escape. What do they dream about? Could I fit in that suitcase? What's it like to check a passport from a place you are forbidden to go? Through an open window, the irreverent teens take note of the prim and proper sisters. Someone chuckles, but no one knows why. And then we are moving again, westward. Next stop, Hanover. Back home, there will be flags and fireworks tonight, and this kid has learned that you don't really know about freedom until it's just beyond your reach.
This poem by Katie Spring is called Working Mother. Though it was not my own, it was assigned to me, and it fits to a T. The most efficient thing can be to stop and listen, to take hold of your hand. But look at this desk. Piles of to-do lists and no air between them. You are old enough to say, I just want to be with you. When only a few years ago you stumbled over consonants. You cried instead of spoke, and I'd sweep you up then, and as if pressing our cheeks together could fix the world. Was it true for you? Was that all it took? I just want to take care of you, so I work. But you look at me as if this is backward, as if taking care is what works.
This poem is by Joe Bauer, The Edge of Everything. In my 70th year, I have learned my center is actually at the edge of everything. No wonder I can't keep my balance on uneven surfaces. I see the world from the edge, near that spot where I could so easily fall. At the edge, I learn anew to hold onto faith, hope, and love. These powers create safety. As I embark on perilous journeys, at the edge of everything, even I, small beneath the universe sky, keep looking for what is most deeply true.
Oh, brother, by Margaret Blanchard. Armed with a wooden sword crafted in Pop's garage workshop, you led us into the wilderness, past the neighbor's threat to cut off our ears with his pruning shears if we stole peaches from his fruit trees or put sand in his sprinklers. Into the desert stretching out between our grandparents' adobe house and the distant mountain range. War news echoing in our heads from nightly radio broadcasts, soothed by our grandmother's voice leading the daily rosary, and our mother's voice reading us Winnie the Pooh, we faced the dangers of the desert, the hiss of rattlesnakes, the sting of prickly pear cactus, and the deadly grip of the Gila monster. Past the tall sentinel cacti, you'd lead us toward the distant horizon. Later, you survived many challenges while building bridges in Vietnam during the war, then returned to Arizona to build playgrounds and parks, serving many years as Sierra Vista's city engineer and councilman, while inspiring and encouraging your 4 children on their diverse paths. In retirement, you explored and hiked through many western mountains, deserts, and canyons, along streams and rivers, taking fabulous photos. As once again we watch the distant sun set behind our beloved mountains, let us celebrate our shared lives lived uniquely, courageously, and fully in the footsteps of our curious and courageous ancestors.
This is Blessings by Betsy Unger. Even if we feel we're falling, let's raise our arms in praise and sing the simplest song, most sanctified and strange, of how sorrow plates with gratitude and makes a net of grace.
Good morning. This winter, my granddaughter turned 10, and I realized that there were things I wanted to say to her, so I wrote a poem. My garden, this is called Another Spring. My garden assistant has expertly prepared another cross-sectioned, leaf-wrapped tulip stem for my careful consideration. She and her young helper rise before dawn to be certain the clipping is completed prior to my arrival. Together, they trim my autumnal hopes down to more manageable springtime bloom. These are experienced, full-service deer, tidy, punctual, reliable.
Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing our closing hymn, number 342 in the gray hymnal, "Oh, slowly, slowly they return." The words of this hymn are by Wendell Berry, and as earlier, Eliza will play it through once before we sing, and then we will only sing the first 3 verses. as we close our service, we extinguish our chalice and carry with it its flame of truth, the warmth of community, and the spark of hope into the days and week ahead. And as we do so, let's say together our mission statement. We welcome all as we build a loving community to nurture each person's spiritual journey, serve human need, and protect the earth, our home. I'd like to thank the members of the Worship and Arts Committee for curating today's poetry service. For our closing words, Sarah Franklin will grace us again, this time with her poem, Grammy's Advice to Simone, after which we will conclude this morning's service with the postlude, a selection from Visions Fugitives by Sergei Prokofiev.
This is advice in 6 pieces. Grammy's advice to Simone. 1, find out what you love. Pursue it. Enjoy it. Share it. 2, be as kind as you can. Again and again, and yet again. Every kindness helps to make the world better. 3, be cheerful, be alert. The world is full of wonders, mysteries, surprises, and beauty, sometimes a feast. 4, be watchful and use caution. The world also contains many dangers, much violence, and even cruelty. Protect yourself. Use your knowledge. Trust your instincts. Take care of yourself. 5, people are fascinating and very varied. Relish their reach and range, the shallow, the deep, and the strange. Cultivate the bright, the good, the kind, the brave, the creative, the hardy. Be inspired by the best in all those around you. Make friends. 6, ABL. Always be learning. Learners are able people, and you can learn about thousands of things from so many sources your whole life long. Live all of it, my very, very dear Simone.